All right, welcome back. So I'm going to try to keep this to 10 minutes or less. Today we're just looking at the causes of the War of 1812. Tomorrow we'll look at some of the key events, but we're pushed for time. So we've got to we got to move. We got to move. There we go. All right. There we go. All right, causes of the War of 1812. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Starting off, so who was involved? So in the War of 1812, we have two countries. We have the U.S. with President James Madison as the president, the leader of the United States. And in Britain, we have King George III, who you should remember from the American Revolution. He does die very early on during this conflict. So you also have King George IV, who is who's the son of King George III. I've also enlisted some references for you. So George Washington, his presidency from 1789 to 1797, excuse me. John Adams from 1797 to 1801, Thomas Jefferson from 1801 to 1809, and James Madison from 1809 to 1817. The reason I gave you this is because we're going to be talking about some years within the Jefferson and Madison within both their presidencies. And then, honestly, the other two I gave to you so you can kind of see that train of secession, that line of secession from Washington, our first president, to James Madison, our fourth president. All four of these men would have a large, what's the word I'm looking for? They would all have a large, God, I can't think of the word. They would have a large something to do. A large impact. There we go. Golly, I couldn't think of impact. They would have a large impact on early American history and the founding of America. Okay, so let's go to Let's go to our next slide. All right, so there's 5 causes here. We're going to kind of go through these pretty quickly because, again, I'm trying to keep these videos short, so you're more likely to look at them. But first, we have the impressment of American Navy men by the British. So, what does impressing mean? Does that mean like showing off for the girls, or wearing something makes you look good for the guys? No, not what we're talking about. We're talking about impressment. Impressment means to capture and to force into naval service specifically. This was happening. The British were impressing American Navy men. Now, why were they doing this? Well, the American Navy was protecting many of its trade ships that were going from America to Europe. Britain and France were both at war during this time, so the Navy was more so just to protect economic interests at this particular time. The British Navy, because again they needed manpower, would capture the American Navy men and force them into service. Now you're thinking, how do they force them into service? Well, they force them by essentially like either you're going to do this or you're going to die. So when it comes down to it, the Americans really don't have too much of an option. Second, we have the Non-Importation Act of 1806. The Non-Importation Act, what this did is this banned the importation of certain British goods, not all, but certain British goods. The goal here, this was passed under the Jefferson administration, the goal was to hurt the British economy so the British would stop the impressment of the U.S. Navy. Many of the, this is better. This is much better. Many of the, I don't look as professional, but I look relaxed. My hair, I don't look good. Many people in America wanted, Many people in America wanted to go to war with Britain after they began impressing these British soldiers, these American soldiers. Many were calling for war, but Jefferson knew, we're a young country. We don't want war. Again, we're 20 years removed from the American Revolutionary War. We don't want any more conflict. We can't afford it. We've got other fish to fry, bigger fish to fry. So, again, that's why the Non-Importation Act was passed to persuade Britain to stop this act of impressment by hurting them financially, hurting them economically. A year later, we have the Embargo Act. So the Embargo Act takes the Non-Importation Act and it, turns it up a little bit. So the Embargo Act of 1807, what it did is it banned U.S. trade with foreign countries, mainly
Britain and France, because that is the main two trading partners of the United States. But again, you see with foreign countries. So this is also Italy, this is Spain, this is Portugal, this is some Northern African countries. So this is going to have a very large effect. What Jefferson was wanting to do is he was wanting America to be self-sufficient, and grow and manufacture and make everything that it needs, but it couldn't. So this act itself almost destroyed the entire U.S. economy. Now, why does he ban U.S. trade mainly with Britain and France? Again, they are our main trade partners. Well, the whole thing here is that Jefferson didn't want to get entangled in a European war. Washington had actually warned against that in his farewell address. The reason that this could happen is because they were both at war with each other. And so, think about it. You two best friends get into a fight. All right, well, whose side are you taking? More than likely, you're going to feel like you have to take a side. You can try to remain neutral, but then both of them hate you. And that's what's going to happen here. Both of them are going to hate America for not taking a side. Okay, let's go to our next. This is our last slide, really. We have the Non-Intercourse Act of 1809, and what this did is when President James Madison came into power, he simply got rid of the embargo on all foreign countries and just placed an embargo, again, banning of trade, just on Britain and France alone. So this makes it a little bit more manageable for the U.S. economy, but again, the U.S. economy is still struggling along with Britain's economy and France's economy. Lastly, and this doesn't have a year attributed to it because it was kind of happening over a course of a period of time, Britain began supporting and supplying Native American tribes with weaponry to prevent the spread of the United States. So Britain is taking an active step in making sure that the Americans have several different conflicts at once. Think about it. If the only enemy is Britain, then all that energy can be centered on Britain. But if the natives are also causing the United States trouble, then the United States has to divide its energy. And so then Britain could be more successful if it came down to war. Okay? So those are just some of the causes to the War of 1812. Tomorrow we're going to look at the key events. Again, we are pressed for time. So we're going to move very quickly. If you have questions, please ask. I'll do my best to explain in simple terms, kind of some of the issues going on. Again, if you have any questions, just let me know. All right, I'll see you guys later. That should be a pretty quick video, and we're done.